Hey everybody, it's Tao at the Forge. I just want to say thanks for tuning in, and I hope you guys have fun with this deck tech, and wish you guys luck playing it with it. But before we begin, I just want to remind you that if you do like what I do, you can support the channel for free just by liking, subscribing, leaving a comment, or sharing the video. Hopefully we can help my channel to grow, and we can get into bigger and better things. So let's get started. Hello everybody, this is Tao at the Forge, and I'm back with a new deck idea for FNM Historic. So what we're doing today is what I like to call Steal and Sack Historic, and I'm going to take advantage of the Sacrifice deck that was really popular back in the day, and we're going to kind of modify it to make it a little more competitive in today's modern meta, or historic meta. So what we're going to do is our game plan is basically to aggressively steal our opponent's creatures and then sacrifice them for our own gains. All right, so we're going to have ways of sacrificing, ways of stealing our opponent's stuff, and then also ways of punishing our opponents every time we sacrifice stuff. So let's take a look at what we got. So we're starting off with a little bit of removal, and that's just in Bloodchief's Thirst, because very often, like, our opponent might put down an early Lotus Cobra or something like that we just can't get rid of, or else we don't have any way of stealing their creature. So sometimes we just got to get rid of stuff, and Bloodchief's Thirst is a really cheap way to get rid of stuff. Right after that, we have of course, our Witch's Oven and Cauldron Familiar combo, and that is a super pain in the butt because you can be a chump blocker, and then it can also go and give you a net gain of life every time it comes out, and every time you sacrifice, then you're sacrificing, and that could help us with our Mayhem Devil. So every time we sacrifice anything, right, then our Mayhem Devil is going to ping one of our opponents, either them or one of their creatures, depending on what we need. So sometimes you're going to keep their creature alive because you intend to steal it. Other times you just ping your opponent to go straight to face, right? And especially if you have more than one of these, like, sacrificing Cauldron Familiar and then bringing it back to the battlefield with the Witch's Oven can be just really devastating. So I like that combo, and so we're going to keep that in. Now, once we also have things that if you sometimes have, like, you're in a bind, you can also sacrifice one of your creatures with Village Rites. So it's 1 mana, you sacrifice one of your creatures, and you can actually just draw 2 cards off of it. But better than sacrificing one of your creatures is sacrificing one of your opponent's creatures. And so how are we going to get our opponent's creatures? Well, we're going to use things like Claim the Firstborn. Right, so Claim the Firstborn, you gain control of target creature with converted mana cost 3 or less until end of turn. Untap that creature and it gains haste until end of turn. Now remember, you can actually attack with that creature too. So very often, like in the early game, opponent might drop down a creature, and then what I will do is I'll Claim the Firstborn on them, swing in with their own creature, attack it, and then sacrifice. So don't forget that if you can, attack them with their own creature as well. Okay, we talked about Witch's Oven. We also have Priest of the Forgotten Gods. Now, Priest of the Forgotten Gods is just such a powerful card, mainly because it can just deal a crap ton of damage, right? So, you sacrifice 2 other creatures, and sometimes that's not even your own creatures. Or maybe one of your own or one of your opponent's creatures. And then any number of target players each lose 2 life and sacrifice a creature, right? So then they lose 2 life, they sacrifice a creature. You get to draw a card off of that, and you also get 2 black mana. So that's actually pretty powerful. Now, we're also playing Kroxa, Titaness of Death's Hunter, because we can sacrifice it so it sacrifices when it comes into the battlefield. But then also we can bring it back from the graveyard because we're sacrificing a whole ton of stuff. Stuff's going to go to the graveyard a lot. Even our Claim the Firstborn and Hijack, which we'll talk about later, those things are going to come back, go into the graveyard, and Kroxa allows us to use those as fodder to bring him back. Okay, following that, we've got some Shatterskull Smashing and Shatterskull the Hammer Pass. Now, typically we're going to use this as just mana, but in a bind it can be removal. And so, I mean, it's going to be pretty good to have this around. Usually, like 90% of the time you're using this as mana, just as land, but sometimes stuff happens and you got to get rid of a creature, so this can turn into some removal for you. Alright, now as far as sacrificing goes, we also have a Woe Strider. Now, Woe Strider can come into the battlefield. It creates a goat token. You can sacrifice something to scry. Very often, you won't have your Witch's Oven or your Priest of Forgotten Gods, but you might have a Woe Strider. Then you can use your Claim to the Firstborn, steal one of your opponent's creatures, and then use it to scry. And you just got rid of your, opponent's stuff. Basically, once we steal it, we don't want to give it back. Okay. After Claim the Firstborn, we also have a 4 of Hijack. So Hijack just is straight up gain control of target artifact or creature until end of turn, untap it, gains haste. You can swing in with it again. This has no mana limit. Claim the Firstborn is 3 or less. But Hijack has no mana limit, and so we can claim something, sacrifice it, and then, or attack with it and then sacrifice it. Right? Mayhem Devil, typically we don't want to sacrifice these, but sometimes we can, depending on the situation. But every time we sacrifice anything, Mayhem Devil deals 1 damage to any target. Now, one of the things that we have here also is we have Kroxa. Now, don't forget that when Kroxa enters the battlefield, you have to sacrifice him unless he escaped. All right, but what you can do is when Kroxa is still in the battlefield, you can go to full control, and you don't they're still technically on the battlefield. So you can technically use Village Rites on Kroxa while it's still sitting on the battlefield. So if you have 3 mana, you put down Kroxa, it goes to the battlefield, you can sacrifice it to Village Rites and then still gain 2 life. Right? Or, for instance, like let's say on turn 2, I play down a Priest of Forgotten Gods. Then on turn 3, I've got my 3 mana. I can play Kroxa, or actually first, you claim the Firstborn, steal one of your opponent's creatures. Then play Kroxa. When Kroxa's on the battlefield, then you tap it, your Priest of Forgotten Gods, and sacrifice those 2 creatures, right? Which forces your opponent to sacrifice another creature, and then they lose 2 life, and so on and so forth. And you get to draw a card off of it. So there's tremendous value in that. Just make sure, to remember that once Kroxa's on the battlefield, before you sacrifice it, then you can still do other things with him. All right. Okay, now after that we've got a 2 of Hagra Mauling. So Hagra Mauling again is just destroy target creature. That's again kind of like if we're in trouble, sometimes we just need to be able to do that. A very tough opponent that I played a Shalai against me and gave themselves hexproof, so I couldn't go to face with Mayhem Devil. I also couldn't hijack any of their creatures, and I also couldn't use Priest of Forgotten Gods against them because it says sacrifice 2 other creatures, any number of target players, but Shalai gives the target player, all the players, or your opponent, hexproof, and so I couldn't target the player with it. That was actually very, very difficult to get rid of, and basically what I had to do is put down a whole bunch of creatures and then sacrifice a bunch of things and get Mayhem Devil to ping Shalai down over and over again to get her, just to kill her. And then once I was able to kill her, then I was able to bring stuff back, start targeting my opponent again. I still ended up winning that match, but it was a really tough match. Okay, and then after that, we've got some lands. We got 2 of Castle Locthwain, 5 swamps, 5 mountains, a 4 of Blood Crypt, 1 Dragonskull Summit. Now, what I would recommend is actually a 4 of Dragonskull Summit, and just swapping it, put in 3 more of these, and then you can take out 2 mountains and a swamp or something like that to put it in. Except I just don't have the 3 more Dragonskull Summits in my collection, and I don't want to waste wild cards on it. So yeah, anyways, usually land's a good investment, but I just don't have the wild cards to waste on it right now, and so I have to kind of deal without. Right, a 2 of Fabled Passage is always good. Now you could go 4 Fabled Passage, but we're pretty low to the ground on this one, and so we generally want fast mana. So Fabled Passage is okay, but not always the best thing. Right, we want to play pretty fast if we can, and so we want to try and have untapped mana as much as possible. Right, so so we got the 2 Castle Locthwain can come into untapped. The Blood Crypt counts as a swamp. Same thing with of course our swamps, maybe our mountains, and then Dragonskull Summit doesn't, but yeah, anyways, it gives us a relatively fast mana. And you can see here the curve is super low, almost everything at 1, some things at 2, some things at 3, and just 2 cards at 4. Now in total we are playing 61 cards instead of 60 cards, but I actually haven't had any real problem with it. I feel like the mana base is set up correctly. I've never been mana screwed screwed on this, you know. So overall, I'm pretty pleased with this deck. Anyways, that's it. Give it a try. I will try and follow up with some gameplay later if I do have the time, but I am working on next week's video that will come out on Sunday night. But yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comments. Try it out, and hopefully you guys win FNM Historic. Alright, so we are going to go and try and get a couple wins in Historic FNM, and let's see how we do. Alright, so we're ready to go. Ooh, okay, well, I have the lands, so I can go turn 1. Do I really need this turn 1? Probably not. Okay, let's do this. I feel kind of wonky. I've never had such a weird land base here, but okay, let's get this down. And I will have this come in tapped. And then, it's too bad I don't have a Mayhem Devil right now, but that's okay. Is what it is. Okay, so I would really like to get Priest of the Forgotten Gods down on turn 2, because then I could potentially start sacrificing things, but we'll see what happens here. Alright, what are we playing? Mono blue. Alright, I'll see how that goes. I could pay this and get it down, but let's hold off here. Okay, and, oh hell, let's play this down. No counterspell. That's pretty good to know. Now, it could mean that they just didn't have the mana for the counterspell, so we'll see what happens here. Okay, Magmatic Channeler. Oh. Okay, what is this? As long as there are 4 more instances, discard a card, he's on top tier later. Interesting. Okay, so it's a huge... We need to get rid of that. That's like a huge mana sink there. Okay, so let's play this guy down. And then what we will do is play down... Cancel. I don't think we can get rid of anything with that, so enter tapped, that's fine. Next, end turn, and go! Alright, so opponent's got this Magmatic Channeler, and so are they going to exile their cards from their library and start playing that? That's kind of weird. We'll see how it goes. Let's see what are they going to do. Alright, so Seagate, just about to copy the next instant. Oh, that could be really bad. Okay, so what are they going to cast? Probably some like burn spell or something like that. Let's see what happens. Nope. Now, the good thing about this is that because this one fizzled, I wonder, normally if this fizzles, then it goes to the graveyard. So, this one, does it go to the graveyard? Yeah. Okay, well, let's get this Mayhem Devil down. Good. And we will sacrifice this. Okay, goodbye to Seagate Stormcaller. And what do we need? A red? Sure, let's get red. Alright, and there we go. End turn. Okay, now next turn, I think what I'm going to do is try and play a pair of the Priest of Forgotten Gods down. And then on the turn after that, I can sacrifice, play a Kroxa, and sacrifice a Priest of Forgotten Gods and Kroxa, unless I can steal this Magmatic Channeler. We'll see how we do here. Okay, but yeah, let's see, are they able to, what are they able to do here? This is an interesting deck. I don't think I've ever seen this deck before. Alright, opponent, ready for you to go. X equals 3. Do we just take it? I don't think so. Like, why would I? I can just sacrifice him and deal a damage to my opponent. Okay, there we go. So we'll give our opponent a damage. Right? Like, why would I take that? It's so strange. And I can take one. That's not a big deal right now. Alright, this is good. So here we go again. And... yep. End turn. We'll just see what my opponent does here. So, hello. Okay, now, what do they have? Probably another removal. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, I'm not going to sacrifice it because I could use, like next turn I can put 2 things down, and like I could put this down with the priest, or, oh, that's so good. Okay, so let's actually get this down and put down the priest as well. Next turn I'll play down Kroxa. I can actually play down everything here, and then start drawing more cards. Alright, opponent. What do you have? 2 cards in hand. They've got Brazen Borrower in exile. Okay. Interesting. What are they gonna do? So, Magmatic, discard a card. Okay, so they're looking for cards. You choose one of them, you play this card. The only problem with that is you could fizzle, right? They could have just lands. I guess if it is a land, you could still play it, right? It just depends what they got. Alright, so Ironcrag Pyromancer. Okay. Now, it would be nice to be able to steal that, because he has only 3 mana. Any of my steal spells would be able to do it. Oh, Bloodchief's Thirst. Alright, that'll do. That'll do it. Okay, now, what do I need? I want to play Priest, and then Kroxa, force my opponent to sacrifice. I'll get the 2 mana, then, yeah, then I can use the mana to cast Bloodchief's Thirst. Okay, done. Alright, so let's do that. I'm going to go to full control. Get my Kroxa. Autopay. Resolve. Okay. Good. Boom, boom. Opponent has to do that. I am going to tap. Opponent. Submit. Sacrifice these 2 creatures. Done. And we will target. And we only sacrificed 2 things, so we'll just go to face. Submit. Submit. If I did 3, I would have actually gone and killed that Magmatic Channeler. Now, my opponent will probably give up the Channeler and keep the Ironcrag Pyromancer. Oh, did I just make a mistake there? Yeah, because they had to sacrifice it. Damn it. Okay, well, it is what it is. Okay, so Kroxa's going to do a ton of damage to them. Okay, and then we resolve this. I don't need to hold the full control anymore. And oh no, I actually cannot do that. Okay, well, let's just go Cauldron Familiar. And, yep, now my opponent knows they're toast. Alright, well, there's 1 victory down. Sweet. Alright, so we got 20 gems, 100 gold. Alright, that's pretty good. So far, so good. Moving up. Alright, then I have 1 more. Let's see if we can get the 2nd win in a row here. Alright, playing immediately. So, who are we playing against this time? Oh, we got the up. Oh, alright, now the only problem is we got wonky mana. So I'm going to go keep 7. I'm going to go turn 1 Cauldron Familiar. Okay, that's alright. So turn 2, I'm going to go Priest, and then down to Witch's Oven, and just start pinging my opponent down like crazy. Colossus Hammer. Oof, okay, for sure I got to get this priest down right away, because I need to be able to sacrifice stuff to get rid of that, whatever creature is going to get that thing. Probably some like equip for free type feature here. Yeah, that's a... Ooh, Danitha Capuchin. 3 mana. Yes. Alright, do I do it now? Or do I steal it later? What to do? What to do? Okay, let's steal it later. Alright. I can still do it. Oh hell, let's do it. Down to the Capuchin. Thank you. We attack with these 2. Boom, boom. And sack. Okay, submit. We will sacrifice Danitha and also the Cauldron Familiar. Boom, boom. There you go. And play out this one. There we go. Another priest coming down end turn. There we go. Sweet. That was actually a sweet play. Okay, next turn we're going to swing in with everyone. We'll swing in with the whole crew. Okay. and get another priest down, put another mountain, end turn. Opponent's down to 9. Ho, that was a good play. Ha ha ha! And victory is mine. There's an easy 2-0. So anyways, I hope that you guys have the same luck as I do in FNM at home, right? So like I said, this is actually a surprisingly powerful deck. I was a little bit taken aback at how good it was. 20 gems, 25 gold, or 25 XP, and a Polywog Symbiote, which I probably have a million of already, but that's okay. All right, there we go. Don't forget that you can receive a code for an Arena FNM promo pack containing 2 cosmetic items, right? If you take a screenshot, which I'll do right now, and then send this to your local game store, and they will send you a promo pack. So there you go. That's it for now. I hope you guys like the deck. I wish you luck. And don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks for watching. See you next video.